Good evening, everybody. My name is Rajnikant Patel. I'm the retired executive and author of children's books, and I'll be the moderator today. Let me first introduce today's holistic science inner science expert. Deepakanandji has a bachelor's degree in electrical engineering, and he worked in engineering industry. From the very childhood, he was inclined to be cerebral and was in search of answers to the puzzles of everyday life. His answers were obtained when he received self-realization through the grace of the realized holistic scientist Sri M. Patel in 1983. Since then, he has pursued his dreams to work selflessly to spread the message of holistic inner science and his life living experiences to uplift the entire mankind toward inner peace, harmony, freedom, happiness by answering questions from people to solve everybody's uh, everyday puzzles questions. So he quit his job and totally devoted to this life since 1983. He has devoted all his life on to holistic inner science and traveled all over the world. And he has had many seminars, conferences, and question and answer sessions. Now, what is really holistic inner science? There are two aspects of science. One is the material science or the outer science, which is termed as physical science. It is the science of the ever-changing things or relative things. We get happiness, we get unhappiness. Things happen based on our wishes, things don't happen with. And that is all changing and relative. Another aspect is the inner science or the science of the pure soul, which is real, unchanging, with knowledge function only. It is called holistic inner science or Vitrak Vigna, as pursued by holistic scientist Sri M. Patel. Like what is inside, happening inside, after things happen, what are our reactions, or how to handle a situation after after something has happened. So it is a science of the relative and real. It is science of one's own life and living, encompasses mind, speech, and body. It answers some of the questions, how the world functions, how all living beings functions, what is under our control, how can we live happy, harmonious living, what is the law of karma, etc. On the spiritual side, it teaches us how to have inner peace through understanding, have a heart, and have a happy, harmonious living. So welcome, Deepakanandji.
Uh, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Patel, for introducing me and giving me this grand opportunity of sharing my experience of holistic inner science. And I welcome you all in oneness. Thank you once again.
Thank you. Now, before we introduce today's subject, we had some homework for last time. Observe our thought process, speech, and behavior, and how many times we hurt others. Anybody? Okay, there's Saila Ben has.
Yeah, Deepakanandji, I tried my best, which I feel good about it. But I must say that within the last 15 days, I must have faulted at least 5 to 6 times. But that realization, jo pratikraman, na? Sorry, that I tried.
Correction.
But yeah, I mean, I'm getting, it's a process. But I must say that I really, that today's thought is that klesh or kich jo hai na, so that has happened. But I know I have to improve.
Very good.
Correct.
Anybody else? I have something. I also did a lot of awareness of that, and what I find that when I do not meet others' expectations, and I feel then I hurt them. That's one thing. And other thing is, when we have get together, have meetings, or after things, we always criticize others. It didn't happen this way, it should have done that. And I feel that is transmission of hurt through us and to the other people. And I think we did it quite in this last 2 weeks, quite a bit. And that is something that I need to work on. Deepakanandji?
Yeah, I also had I mean, I have my observation that several times, when I look at others or things around me, I get very weird negative thoughts, which are quite wild opinions about people and things. And I believe at least I should have some good positive opinions about people I deal with or things I come across, and never have negative opinions. But I have also observed that repeatedly, especially with close relations, a lot of verbal wrangle take place on trivial matters. Whether I do to others or others do to me, both ways, they invariably uh, make me uneasy and disturbed, and that remains for quite some time. And so, to come out of these negative effects, I believed I need to be mindful. I need to be mindful to identify these mistakes, confess them, and correct them for my own self purification and for my inner peace. And disturbing situation, it's also an observation that disturbing situations are bound to come in our life because several, and rather most of the good people in history, they did come across difficult and tragic situations in their life. Uh, but, uh, you know, uh, they responded positively without adhering to any negativity. In fact, they expressed uh, their utter compassion on those very people who were party to their extreme suffering. Like, for example, the last words from Lord Christ, Jesus Christ, was, "Oh God, they know not what they are doing. Please forgive them." Came out with great generosity. So, to be and to remain mindful of our mind, speech, and body activities is very important, and we must spend some time on daily basis for our own happiness and spiritual progress. Thank you.
Thank you. I think Tuptaben has a.
Yeah. You know what? After listening to all the satsangs, I made that, I decided that, should have one goal. Uh, and my main thing is, कि संभाव से निकाल करना है और किसके साथ करना है. It's my only one is Vinod is my, he and I, we are the only ones who live together here in the house. So most of the time, the disagreements are between us only. So I decided, like from satsangs, they said, ask Dada Bhagwan that I want to do Sambhav Se Nikal every day, and to give me the strength. And you won't believe how this has changed my life. Dada Bhagwan has given me so much strength that I cannot utter anything negative to him. I don't feel like saying anything that will hurt him, and just agree with him in everything. And I said, you decided ek bhav mein, in this life only. And that is what I have to do. And you won't believe that from the past 4 or 5 days, like as soon as I see him and we talk to him, I don't want to say anything negative, agree with him. I don't know, asking Dada for strength has really changed my life. I feel so happy. Like we have had no arguments, I think from the last week or anything, and saying, and agreeing and thinking his point of view. So I just wanted to share this, that finally, Dada's asking Dada for strength is a miracle, and making that Purusharth in the morning. And even when I see him, I see the Dada in him. That's how, I just wanted to share it with everybody.
Thank you. Thank you very much for sharing this. One thing for the audience, when she's talking about Dada, it is the inner soul that she's talking with. That's what she is referring to. Deepakanandji? Any?
Yeah, very true. And it's a great appreciation, Triptaji. Your experience is great, and it reveals the fact that if we decide, then things definitely happen, and we must make use of this uh, life principle in our life for our own happiness and for the happiness of our people at home, especially, and at work. So that's a wonderful experience. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing that, Deepakanandji, also. And maybe we'll take this topic of Sambhav and Ikal some other time. Right now,
Surely, yes.
I don't, what is in English, Sambhav and Ikal is not coming to me right now. But
Fine, it's called amicable handling of people,
thank you. Okay. So,
balanced way of handling people.
so maybe that is, we will take that up next time. But now and maybe it's conjunction with today's topic. Let me introduce today's topic. It is uh, understanding of body self. It is really, what does it mean by understanding of body self? Why it is important to us? How and what we need to do to understand that? Is it a spiritual thing, or it is a, like we said, outer science, or is it connected with outer inner science? What is ultimate goal of ours, and how does this fit in our previous talks that we talked about body, mind, speech, and all that stuff? So if you can uh, throw light on that, I think then we'll understand what you mean by body self.
Surely, yes. uh, well, uh, it is our experience that we are what or how our body is, and what our body feels, and what we do. And it is our experience also that we trustfully believe and identify ourselves by the name given to us, basically to the body, which is the most primary and core conditioning done on us by our own parents from our birth itself. Everyone gets this name, and invariably everyone starts believing himself by his name. And there is also a very powerful and wonderful scriptural revelation regarding our body. As is the body, so is the universe, and as is the universe, so is the body. And we also know it is holistic inner science revelation. The universe is made up of 6 eternal elements, and they are soul, matter, space, time, motion, and inertia. In fact, the living body of every life form as well is also made up of these same 6 eternals. And these 6 eternal elements, only of these 6 eternal elements, only soul has power of knowing, whereas the other 5, they they just do what we mean. It is full of activity. It doesn't have power of knowing, power of perception or knowing. So with the help of the infinite knowing power of the soul self, we must understand the body self activities. So this is the goal. We must take help of the infinite knowing power of the soul self, our own inner knowing power, to understand the body self activities. And with that, whoever, like the holistic scientist, has made his own observation an experience, and he has revealed his experience through several uh, revelations, we will come to know and understand the body's activities, because soul never come into anybody's interaction. It is the body that interacts. It simply means that the world we see around is merely manifestation and interaction of these six eternal elements only, and primarily the five non-knowing or those that have the functionality of doing, they interact. And so to understand and know, rather experience the universe and its working, we must first address and try understanding our body self only. This is the importance of knowing the body self. As Yajurveda has revealed the same fact what we talked about the universe and the body, yatha pinde tatha brahmande, yatha brahmande tatha pinde. As is the body, that is the pind, so is the universe, that is the Brahman, as is the universe, so is the body. What it means, every man is microcosm of the macrocosm called the universe. And so to understand the macrocosm, that is the universe, all we need to do is to understand the microcosm, which is our body, we ourselves. And understanding that comes out from this internal body search is called enlightenment or knowledge or gyan or self-realization. And now that is the reason why uh, most of the saints and the enlightened one, Gyanis, have simply asked us to reach out within, that is inside, and never fumble or search outside, that is without. And there are so many questions we have regarding our body, our human body, uh, its different faculties, and with its broad spectrum functionalities with which we live in this world. Here, holistic inner science has so gracefully revealed body self functioning. It works in a parliamentary way, like how we have in a parliament, we have different faculties within us having functionalities identical in a parliament. So, irrespective of the religion that one may follow, any belief that one may possess or profess, every human have a body that functions perfectly in a parliamentary way. Let us see. Outside, we have the physical body that acts and helps in movement with its cognizing five senses. We have a tongue that aids and help in speaking with its outside vocal speech that contributes to 1/8 part of the total speech function. And then we have the inside part, which is not visible outside, but we can feel and experience. We have mind, which is home department. You have wandering, reflective, or impure consciousness, which is foreign department, because it goes out and come and in and out it goes. You have intellect, which is does the function of prime minister, and you have ego, which does the function of president, and the inner 7/8 part of the non-vocal speech that keep going inside. So speech is 1/8 outside and 7/8 inside. Now we can understand that the five senses primarily captures information from outside and within our body also. And with this information, our mind gets triggered. It gets initiated. Mind starts showing thought pamphlets as effects based on previous ignorant karmic causes of likes and dislikes. What it means, looking at the same thing, I will get a different thought, you will get a different thought, some other person will get totally different thought. And that is the reason it is also the center point of our life, living and existence, because depending upon our thought, that is our mind, we live our life, we uh, exist. Then, based on the thought, your that is reflective consciousness or impure consciousness immediately starts showing pictures in connection with these thoughts. It wanders within the body and outside in the world also. Over this, intellect, uh, the prime minister, which is indirect light of pure soul, the soul itself, through the window or wheels of egoism. It evaluates profit and loss and makes decision, either favoring the mind or reflective consciousness in every situation. Uh, and that decision is also as per karmic suffering only, because based on the decision you come across those suffering. And finally, ego, the president, without having its own light, blindly follows intellect decision and endorses every action at the body level, and ignorantly also becomes sufferer and claims doership on self or others, uh, that those things that actually he doesn't do, but all those things that happen naturally, he does egoism of doership. So this is how every action takes place within our body in a parliamentary way. Now, regarding speech, we can say it is basically a coded or recorded information based on previous intent and feelings. That's why in holistic inner science terminology, speech is called tape record. Although it is merely a discerning effect of the past, but because it could be changed based on today's intent and wisdom of right understanding of, we can say, holistic inner science or any other right understanding, it is also considered as a secondary discharge. In this regard, which is very important, in this regard, speech plays a pivotal role, pivotal part in our life and holistic inner science for our happiness. So we can change the situation, change things using our speech. So speech plays a very vital role in our life for our own happiness, and that is how holistic inner science makes use of our speech to regain our happiness. It also uses speech to recondition our mind. Finally, we have pure soul, which is pure consciousness, the divine, all knowing God element within all of us, within every living form. And with this infinite power of perception and knowledge, you really, uh, uh, I mean, that's really our true identity, but we are unaware of that due to self ignorance, and we believe name of the body itself as I am. And in this regard, holistic inner science has said so perfectly revealed, you are wholly and solely responsible for yourself. Now, as we have seen, everyone has a radically conditioned mind right from his birth, and mostly with negativities today. No one accept other person's belief, other person's views, and so it needs careful reconditioning through the right understanding of holistic inner science. And it is for this vital reason that we must understand our body self. Now, further, you had also said that why do we need to do this? And I mean, how or what we need to do to understand our body self. All we need to do is understand this holistic inner science, because this science is at the core of every existence, every living form. And it has very clearly and scientifically revealed the hidden truths and laws of nature, and it's perfectly efficient working with the human body at the center, at its center. Because human body is the fully developed life form, what you call as Homo sapiens, the species of bipedal primate with upright carriage. This is the definition taken from the dictionary. Upright carriage to which the modern humans belong, and it is characterized by a high capacity, fully developed brain, that is mind, superior intelligence, and completely articulated speech. You have We humans have very clear speech that is dependence upon language with the intricate creation and utilization of complex tools. We have so many machinery, all designed by humans, and except for humans, no other life form have egoism or doership aspect. And due to this, all other life forms live normally and naturally. That is, they are one with the nature. They never interfere or harm the nature. In fact, they help and contribute positively in balancing the ecosystem. We have known that, like how the trees they release oxygen and they take carbon dioxide. Humans take oxygen and we release carbon dioxide. So this is how we coexist nicely. And it is only humans who temper and create serious disturbances in the entire nature. And the reactions of nature is the tsunamis, the volcanoes, floods, droughts are all because of the meddling of human into the nature. And this is all because human had the inner weaknesses of selfishness, personal likes and dislikes, territorial identity and dominance, strong religious belief, strong patriotic belief, and egoism, all arising out of self ignorance. And holistic inner science is the ultimate solution to resolve this. Further, you also asked that how it is going to help us in spiritual progress and the ultimate goal of knowing who am I. Now, we can say that spirituality means to live independently with the wisdom of knowledge, to enjoy the freedom and bliss of the pure soul, who we really are as our permanent self identity. It is called one belief, that is ekamat, with compassion and feeling of oneness with everyone, called ekajat. So, really, on the pure soul side, we all are one as our true self identity. And on the body self side, everyone's body self being made up of the same six eternals, the five eternals, we can say the rest of the five. We are of the same nature. That is, it is called ekajat, of one uh, nature only, without interfering, disturbing, or harming the mother nature. So when we are one like this, that's why we say we greet you all in oneness. So we will not be disturbing the nature. We will coexist nicely. So holistic inner science does this by giving a clear demarcation between the nature, existence, and functionality of the body self and the soul self. It can initiate us into self realization of knowing who am I, which ultimately ends up in freedom from birth death cycle of suffering and enjoy the bliss of perpetual pure soul, who we are, who I am. Thank you. That is the purpose of understanding the body self.
Well, thank you very much. I have two questions and then I'll turn on to the
Surely, yes.
audience. One thing you said, I don't, I got it or not, but you said you can change your speech. Uh, is that true?
True. That's true. what it means, see, it is our observation that we had been talking in a particular way previously, but after coming across holistic inner science and other experiences of our life through correction, confession, and self resolution and determination, our speeches definitely change. So, what it want to say that this change is possible at the level of speech only. So, with writers, although it is a discharging effect of past karma,
Right.
what it means past karma means the past moment from this moment.
Say it again.
Past moment from this moment.
Oh, okay.
So anything before this moment is past.
Go on.
But when we say past karmic effect, what we believe maybe previous life or maybe 10 years back or 15 years back or so many lives back. No. What it means, any moment before this moment is past. So, if we are watchful and mindful and careful about what we speak, and if we are determined and we, uh, with very strong determination, if we decide, then things change drastically. So that is why, with this understanding, you can say that it is second discharge.
Okay.
It is to understand that your intent and feeling and decision plays a vital role in your verbal interaction. So don't take it for granted that, oh, it is because of the past karma I cannot do anything. So I can get away with whatever I speak. No.
True. That's a good one. But now, experience tells me that suppose I had some interaction with somebody, okay, and then next time I decide I'm going to say when I meet that person, I'm going to say blah 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 this. But when you meet the other person, your speech comes out totally different than what you were intended to do.
That's true. That's true. But that is what we have to understand, that it is not that whatever is like printed and it is forever and it will not change. Things are subject to change, and our speech is very versatile. You decide and it changes.
Okay.
And if you observe yourself, we have made our own decision that over here with this person, it's okay if I talk like this. We have not put sincere efforts not to speak the way we want, but speak amicably, balance, see that you don't hurt anyone. But with some relations, we don't follow these, uh, you can say, these rules. We are too informal.
That I agree with you because that we sometimes take it for granted, and especially with the loved ones and close ones, we take it very granted that it's okay. You can do this. You can tell them something.
Yeah. So it's like, you feel that informally, if I am dealing like this, it's okay. But they said, no, you have to do it like this.
Yeah.
When conditions come, then it becomes formal. When there are no conditions, then it is informal. I believe that is the understanding of formal and informal.
True. True.
Formal means a stipulated, conditioned way of doing and saying things. And informal means no conditions are necessary. I believe with our loved ones, this conditioning is not necessary, but still the relations, because we feel that these are blood relations or close relations, but these are karmic relations only. And karmic relations means between two body, there is only exchange of suffering, there is give and take, that is where the relation come into picture. Okay?
Yeah, that's why we have to be very, very careful. And like you said, we have to be mindful.
Very much.
My other question is, you know, you said help from soul to understand the body function. But on the other hand, you said soul has infinite energy. Soul is just function of knowing and seeing. Then how does that, doesn't it contradict helping from understanding of soul, of body from the soul?
Okay, let us say, those people who work in the mines and they go down below in the earth a few kilometers at times, not few meters, and they have a light on the top of their helmet.
True.
They make use of their light, that light, to work.
True.
In the same way, we have infinite source of knowing power of our own soul, and with the help of that knowing power and perception power, we can understand the body self functionality. And that's how that power of knowing only help us understand the body self functionality. So that is why we want to highlight that body, the soul self, the soul doesn't take part in any of the activities directly. But once the soul is out of the body is gone.
That's true.
That's what. So what we are saying that we holistic inner science says make use of the knowing power of your own soul self to understand the body self with the experience of the holistic scientist.
Oh,
His experience will initiate your observation.
okay.
His experience, these revelations, what we read or what we study, it initiates our observation. And with that observation, we come to know, oh, that's what it is. And that experience is our experience.
So
And
you're
that
trying.
experience becomes our experience then.
So you're trying to say that the fundamentals and rules and principles of holistic science, if you understand, then automatically this understanding will start coming.
Right. So it will initiate that perceptive power within us.
Okay.
That power is anyway there, but we are not focusing that light of pure soul in that direction. We interpret and try to understand based on our belief. But when we get that right understanding from the holistic scientist through these revelations, then it opens our eyes. Oh, this is what it means. And we start experiencing that too, because then we surpass, overcome our own belief.
Yeah. Well,
And that belief is the conditioning. So the clash is between conditioning. You are conditioned in a way, your wife is conditioned in a different way, and you both are living under one umbrella. So
true.
with these two different conditioning of the mind and so the body self, they're going to have differences. And the only way to coexist is have adjustment. And you can have adjustment only if you are able to know and understand the other person's belief, that is under a person's body self. And then you have to know your own body self.
True.
So that is how we make use of the power of perception and knowledge of the pure soul within us, who is passively active. Passively, why passively? Because it doesn't take part in any of the activities of the body self. And active because without that knowing function, your body cannot act.
True. Okay.
And
Thank you.
sorry, it is also our living aspect that I am living is because of the pure soul only. Okay, please go ahead.
Yeah. Thanks a lot. Now, from the audience, questions? Okay. Kirtiben has a question.
You said speech is 1-8% only outside, but the mostly the 7-8% is inside going on.
Right.
That really very. Can you explain in a little bit?
Okay, let us try to understand. you know, when you have opportunity to talk with others, only then the vocal speech comes out. True?
Correct. Yes.
But when you are not around with anyone, but things keep going on inside, that doesn't stop. In this regard, it is said that the 7 by 8 portion of the speech keep going inside. You get a thought and you start saying things keep going inside. But there is a very clear demarcation between thought and the speech. But gradually, as our perception improves, we will be able to understand the demarcation between the thought and the speech.
Is the bhav the inner bhav, or
Not just feeling,
the also comes in the inner
not
thought?
just feeling. That feeling is again at the mind level.
The bhav. I'm talking about the
Right,
when you
right, right.
spiritually pray or do
Wherever, whenever we say, I want to do this, I don't want to do this, that is where the speech function comes. Wherever expression of opinions or beliefs come, that is where the speech function comes. Now that expression could be inside or could be outside. And this we can very well experience. Yes, that's true.
Okay. So prayers, all the prayers, or when you do all that, bhav or positive thinking, is that
Resolutions.
little part of the speech, the 7-8?
Yes, yes. You are making use of the speech to express your feelings, to express your decisions, to express your resolutions of life. Yes, I don't want to do this. I want to do this. Right?
Mm.
Yeah.
Also, I want to know a little bit more about other 5 elements you talked about. We only the soul have a capacity of knowing and uh,
See,
Right. The
seeing, and
other part,
other.
primarily of the 5, the matter is the one that plays very important and vital role. The others are they're acting behind the curtain. What we mean, what we see is the matter, the body self, and that matter is live matter in connection with the body because it is connected with the living aspect of every individual. The motion and inertia, they keep, and the time, related time, connected time, they keep working in the background. We don't get affected or it doesn't bother us directly. Only if someone arrives late or someone arrives in time, then we are fine, or we get disturbed if they come late. You understand?
Mhm. Yes.
But still, our focus is on the individual, that is the matter, the body, which we believe as the person. Because we also believe that I am by the body.
Right. Right.
And when you start understanding the functioning and operation of the body self, then all your puzzles, all your clashes, all your verbal wrangle, they stop. They don't, because when you understand why things have happened, then you have no reason to blow up. You will
So,
accept.
so mostly to pay attention, focus mostly on yourself. Just
Yes,
study
it's
yourself.
like when you're driving, you have to be aware, totally aware of your own car first.
Correct. Yes.
And we are not consciously aware of that, but I will say subconsciously we are aware of our own car, the size. It's like if you are driving someone else's SUV and yours is a normal car, then automatically your consciousness adjusts to that size, and every time you make a turn or all those things, it happens naturally. But we say naturally, but there is a conscious, I will say, uh, behind that, which keeps you continuously aware that, hey, this is a big car, you cannot make a short turn, you will have to take a bigger turn. For example, those 40 feet pickup vans, trucks, the same guy, when he drives his own SUV or the smaller car, he will not take a big turn. You understand? But
Yes,
when
yes.
he is driving his 40 feet truck, then he will take a very wide turn, right? So that's how his consciousness is working. He's well aware that now I am driving this long vehicle, so I have to take a big turn. But now I'm driving a smaller vehicle, so I don't need to take a big turn. So this is what, in the same way, we become aware of our own body self, because the effect that comes off the surrounding, it comes on the body self. We are not able to accept, understand, and adjust with our own body self, and that is where we react. So understanding our body self is of primary importance.
Anybody else has a question? Go ahead.
It's just a comment. So Deepakanandji, what you're saying is the 7/8 part of this speech is kind of a self-talk that we do, which includes maybe that correction or remorse or pratikraman that we do. That is part of that 7/8 of
All,
yeah.
everything.
Okay.
So the 1/7 part, which is vocal, normally it is used during interaction, or for our own prayers, we may say it loudly. It becomes vocal to others also. But the rest of the time, the 7/8 part just keep going on inside, and in presence of others or in absence of others. That's what.
Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anyone else has a question? Go ahead, Vinod.
So, two things. One is this question about the inner speech. I have been trying to understand the difference between thought and inner speech for many years, and I still cannot pinpoint. I know you said it's a very subtle difference. Can you give some pointers as to where I can identify where thought ends and speech begins? And
Okay.
yeah.
See, thoughts are like just fountains of water. They just come and go. But just thoughts, they just come and go. But then the speech part elaborates it, decides to do or not to do, or express his opinion. It says, like, thought will just come. He's like this. Then our speech kind of endorses, yeah, he's like this. You understand? And when that happens, you are catching the thought. Do you understand? You are driven away by the thought. Okay? So our activity would be physical, bodily activity, or verbal, wherein we kind of endorse the thought and we express in our speech, or we do some action or bodily activity. You understand?
So this, when we say the intellect when it is telling the pros and cons, is that part of inner speech also?
Not really, not really, but you may say that, because see, certain times things go on inside and the intellect really intercepts and says, okay, you can say this. Oh no, you cannot say this here. Sorry. Please keep silent. Don't say anything. So they play, but then many times we decide not to say or to say, and we end up saying something we want to say, but we cannot say. Do you understand?
Because speech, I've
So,
noticed sometimes what happens is that internally there's a dialogue taking place with the second person that I'm going to say this, I'm going to say that. So there you can
right,
understand that it's an inner speech taking place where, like you said, there's nobody outside to talk to, but the inner speech is taking place. I'm going to say so and so,
right,
so and so. So
right.
does that inner speech pertain only to uh, inner speech with the second person, or is it only also with reference to your own self?
No, both ways, both
Mhm.
ways. Certain times, thing go on inside that, okay, let me tell this or that, and then intellect evaluates that and say, oh, no, 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 you cannot say that because that's going to end up in this. So we cannot say like that. You understand? So it could be with your own self or with others also.
So can it
It's
be
like,
said that
hmm,
can it be said that the inner speech function, uh, the thought becomes speech when ego becomes involved in this?
it is always collectively everything happens.
I mean, does it mean that when this inner speech is taking place, that to some level is a lack of awareness, full awareness? Because if it is full awareness, then I should be able to catch it at the level of the thought and not let my ego get involved in it.
In a way, yes. In a way, yes. But
Mhm.
it's like your awareness can come at the level of thought. It can
Mhm.
come at the level of speech. It can come at the level of outer speech or at the level of action. But
Mhm.
what is important, before it comes out, it goes on inside. So if you are watchful, and with that watchfulness, mindfulness, you also have your own resolution, firm resolution that no, I will not speak this, I will not do this. So that works.
Mhm. Okay.
It's like if you don't take care and hold the reins of the horse will go anywhere. But with the reins, you can make him go anywhere your way. So that is where holistic inner science become helpful to drive ourselves towards happiness, for our own happiness and for collective happiness of all,
Mhm.
and especially at home and workplace, because these are the two places we spend most of our time.
One more question I had was with respect to you said being aware of your body self. So when we are involved in uh, day-to-day activities, when the speech is coming out or we are doing some work at job or at home, my experience is that the awareness is not there. But at the end of the day or when I'm driving back home, at that time, then I'm more aware of my thoughts. And basically, the awareness is better at the level of thoughts rather than in the action or in speech. So, my understanding is that if you are really aware, the awareness process is natural. It's a natural function of the pure soul function. So that should automatically be there in all three aspects of body, mind, and speech. So why is it that I have, I'm only able to see it at the thought level and only when I'm free? Why not all times?
The reason is when, let's say, in the morning, you have a bunch of activities to do.
Mm-hmm.
Get ready, go to hospital, finish the patient, and you also have the previous history that, oh, I had to attend to this guy, I had to attend to those guys, and maybe a few of them, the more appointments are also there. So with that commitment and with that focus, you have no time to be watchful about your thoughts because you want to focus on your activities of the day, things to do. And because you have that time, in that time you have to finish these many jobs. So when you are done with the day, then naturally that focus, now the pressure of doing something or telling or giving any instruction to others is not there. So that's where now that awareness naturally gets focused on your thought.
And
So
while
it
we,
is, that's what we are preoccupied with, the commitment of our work. And that preoccupation drives our focus from our thoughts to doing and saying, sending information, sending instructions, right?
right.
That's what happens, because that is your commitment of the day. Things to do today, very important. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in the morning, right at 9 o'clock when you reach the hospital.
So how do we change it where this awareness is there in all three aspects, body, mind, speech, and not just at the end of the day, but also during the day?
Number one, your hospital and your commitment at the hospital is your karmic obligation. And that karmic obligation means you end up in suffering. That is, you end up with likes and dislikes. And here you want to finish that amicably. So don't worry about that. You have to attend to this, but with an intent and decision that I want to handle this in an amicable way. So although the result or the cause of these activities is suffering only, you're going to end up in likes and dislikes only, whether you did nicely or you failed. But in both the results, you will be able to handle situations amicably when you have decided to handle amicably. So that normally we get driven away by our likes and dislikes. And we don't want to get driven away by likes and dislikes, but we want to handle it amicably in a balanced way so that everything settles down. So our resources of, you can say, the mindfulness is more focused on amicable settlement, right?
Okay.
Rather than observing. You are observing, of course, but your focus is that goal of amicable settlement. So it is
Right.
not that it's not being used, but it is used for amicable settlement, which is important because the obligation of that work is towards that.
Mhm.
Because the cause of that work is likes and dislikes. And you want to finish that matter and come out of it with an amicable settlement, amicable dealing, right?
Yes,
So
okay.
don't worry about that. Our resources of wisdom, of knowledge is definitely being used for amicable settlement only. We are not driven away by our likes and dislikes. And not to get driven away by our likes and dislikes, we focus our attention that I want to deal this situation in an amicable way. So your mindfulness would be focused on amicable settlement. Every time you get driven away by likes or dislikes, you won't be. And you will say, no, our focus is on amicable. So amicable settlement means the other person is also happy and you are also happy.
Okay.
So if your intent is amicable, where does it function in the body self? Is it at the mental, at the intellect level where that will come into positivity?
No, what it means, first, it comes as a decision. See, our normal inclination is wherever we like, we want to do things. Wherever we don't like, we don't want to do things. But both are wrong because wherever we like, we will try to overdo things when it is not even necessary. And where we don't like, where even if it is necessary, we don't want to do it. So it is not right. Do you understand?
Yes, yes. But at what
Where I don't like, even if it is necessary, I don't want to do it. Where I like, even if it is not necessary, I want to do it. because I like.
So this
But
is
in both,
this is a mind function then?
yeah, everything is driven, our existence, our living, and everything is based on our mind. Mind means our belief,
Belief. Yes.
our conditioning,
Yes.
powerful, hard-headed conditioning. Don't we see people with very strong conviction, strong beliefs? This is what, this one, two, three. If it is not finished, you are no more. You're no good. These or that, right?
Yeah.
So that's what it is.
Okay, we're almost to the time, but I have one last, unless somebody has a question, is, what is, how do we take care of our body to make sure that our body self is really tuned up with all the good stuff we're talking about?
Okay. Number one, we can say, first of all, I'll just briefly go about, it's a wonderful definition of health, a wholesome definition of health, which is given by Professor George Vitaukas. He practices classical homeopathy, and in his book, A New Model for Health and Diseases, printed by North Atlantic Books, in his chapter 5, where he has defined, given the definition and measure of health, he has defined health like this: freedom from pain in the physical body, that is a state of well being. Freedom from passion, that is anger, pride, possessiveness, greed, likes and dislikes, on emotional plane, resulting in a dynamic, lively state of serenity and calmness. And finally, freedom from selfishness in the mental sphere. So, with this, having a total resultant unification with truth, and a truly healthy person or a normal individual should therefore combine both the divine qualities of love and compassion, that is oneness, and wisdom of knowledge, that is knowing the truth, the fact of the universe. And to do this, what we should do, it's a wonderful quote from an American author and a philosopher, Henry David Thoreau. You may consider yourself happy when the food that you eat is also your medicine. So, food is directly connected with our health and it acts as a medicine. So, if we eat properly, correctly, then itself it will act as medicine, it will remain healthy. So, there are so many different ways you commit mistakes, and due to that, you get those diseases. But the primary mistake is on our negative attitudes. So it is very nicely said that for you to keep yourself up to date and uh, understanding, keep your body such that you understand your body self, then keep in touch with the holistic inner science on continuous basis. It is very important. Like how if you want to use your cell phone, you have to keep charging. You cannot let it discharge because once it discharges, it's useless. And always remember the food definition rule given by Henry Thoreau. And further, you can say eat homemade, well nourished, wholesome food. You can fast on regular basis, like how people take downtime in this process industry where they do all cleaning work. So fasting does the cleaning work of our body. Body is meant for moving, so you must work out regularly, and as far as possible eat organic green leafy vegetables and fruits. Eat less meat and more vegetables. So with this guideline, your body will remain up to date. So when it is healthy, you will remain normal in all your dealings, and that's how you will be able to understand your body self better and other people's body self also better. So your dealing and your coexistence would be wonderful. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. I will wrap up and then you can give us homework and your last parting word. It's very easy to wrap up
Yeah.
today. We talked about getting help from our soul to understand our body self and to understand the parliamentary system of mind, intellect, self-reflective conscience, and the ego to understand our body and how we function in life. So that's the easy one. So any homework and any last parting thoughts?
Uh, Fine. I will say that, regarding the homework, let us try to understand our body activities in relation to our thoughts. So, the parliamentary way of our body functioning, let us analyze that, let us observe that, and uh, let us share our experience. Okay?
What do you mean by that? Example?
See, like how we have said, if I get a thought, then I should try to analyze why did I get that thought or how did I get the thought. So you will come to know, oh, I saw something, I heard something, and these two senses of sight and hearing, they play a very vital role. And the third, if you say the touch, the scent is also all five senses, they play their roles, but then this is where our mind get initiated. All of a sudden, wow, how did I get the thought of eating this particular stuff? We do get, we think that, okay, I want to eat this today. It doesn't come out of the out of the blue. You always, maybe you've seen something, you heard something, you scented something. That's how it initiates the thought to eat that particular stuff or do certain thing or say certain thing. You understand?
Yeah, yep.
It's
That's
a it's a very deeper observation, but gradually as we become mindful of our body activities, that is body self activities, we will be able to understand its functioning. And when we understand the functioning of our own body self and other people's body self, we will be able to accept, adjust, and deal nicely with them,
excellent.
amicably.
Excellent. I think this is good for us to think, for the next 2 weeks. Well, thank you very much.
Surely.
We thank you, Deepakanandji, for taking time to talk to us. And we thank the audience for taking time to. Oh, and if you need more information, you can go on our website, hscrf.org, for more information. So thank you very much.